Welcome, my dear friends. It's great to see you. I'm Stephen Clements, a writer, a gamer, and an appreciator of big brain activities in general. On this channel, I perform dramatic story readings, provide role-playing game and movie reviews, and I get to talk to interesting people, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking to an interesting person about a role-playing game convention. The North Texas Role-Playing Game Convention that I like to go to each year happens in early June in Dallas, Texas. Its main organizer is a gentleman by the name of Gary Oliver. And a question occurred to me a while back: how much do these things cost to put on? Or thought of a different way, where does the money go for running conventions where we can all have a great time, show off our weird games, traumatize each other, have some great laughs? And where does the money come from to put them on? Because I know hotels are almost always involved. So how much do they factor into the economics of a con? Well, since I had that question, I thought I would ask someone who'd be knowledgeable about it. What are the economics of role-playing game conventions? What makes them work? How do the resources get allocated, and where do future resources come from? So hopefully you find this as intriguing a question as I did, and let's find the answers. My dear friends, welcome, dear friend Gary Oliver, who no doubt you've heard me talk a lot about the thing that most folks in the RPG community know him for, the North Texas Role-Playing Game Convention. And if you've been on this channel, you know I talk about it all the time. I talk to people who go there all the time. We're always gushing about how awesome it is. And I've done con reports for the thing and intend to go there every year. As if I only get one con, I'm going to go to North Texas. And I want to work in other cons, but I really want to make sure I get to this one. So, Gary, thanks for coming on. It's going to be great to talk to you.
Appreciate you for having me.
One thing that I've been curious about, and I know others are too, because I've heard them talk about little pieces of it here and there on other podcasts I enjoy listening to, is the economics of a role-playing game convention. What is it like? How does it work? And I was thinking about that question, and then I remembered, wait, I know a guy.
I know a guy.
I know a guy. He might be willing to talk about this with me. And so I asked, and you said, yes, I'd love to talk about that
Sure.
with people. Because it actually does cost money to put on role-playing game conventions. Believe it or not, dear viewer, things cost money. And if we enjoy our role-playing game convention, then we need to support it. We need to help it keep going. How do we best do that? Is it just buying a badge? Is it buying all the swag? Is it staying at the hotel? What all adds into it? So I know how to be part of the thing that keeps the fun going and not a free rider that helps it eventually fail because it just didn't have the lifeblood that it needed, which is cash. So Gary, since I know that you know how to successfully run a con, because you've been doing it for how long now?
I've been at the convention since the second one, and I really actively started helping Doug with the convention probably about years 5 or 6. But I didn't actually take it over until after Doug passed in 21. So I've been doing it about 4 years. The fifth year he was in the hospital, I actually, working off his notes, did run it that year too. So
That's sad, and he's still missed. That's a nice shrine that people put up for him every year. No, I know we'd rather have him there because
yes,
I don't think I ever got to meet him. Well, he certainly left a mark, and he left a good legacy of an excellent convention.
and
So,
we try to keep that going. Yes.
yeah, and since you've taken over, it seems like the con is growing as much as you feel like letting it grow. And I totally get the philosophy behind North Texas. You want to keep it small so everybody can interact with everybody. It helps defeat the clique effect and folks not being able to get involved in the cool stuff that would bring them to a con. Love the philosophy, but you appear to have identified that, okay, we can let a few more people in to enjoy the magic. Okay, maybe a few more. And I appreciate you keeping quality control on that. Do you foresee an upward limit of how many folks that you think you would let in?
Our initial cap was 500, and we moved to 600 this year. One of the things that happened this year is we lost one of the boardrooms due to construction. And as part of that process, the hotel gave me 2 downstairs end of hall suites that were basically rooms that had living room furniture in them. And they pulled all that furniture out and set game tables up in there. So I essentially got 2 mini conference rooms for the price of one because it was, they were basically trying to even things out. Keep in mind, there's 2 of those on every floor of that hotel. by doing that, I mean, I theoretically have game space that I could expand on and on and on. And these are people who, being in the main hotel area, are not then in the direct center of the main convention space. And so I realized that theoretically I could probably push that number closer to probably a big number. But we have decided we're staying with 600. The reality is until 5 years ago, the biggest number we ever had in the convention was 2019. We had 408. And that was the biggest it had ever been. Then it dropped off the next year. COVID then killed it. And then we came back. But we have come back with a vengeance. And post Doug's passing, we've had good support from the community. We've had a lot of people participate. A lot of people have become interested in it. But like last year, we sold out in February. We sold out of our badges, and that was 500. We have, as our general rule, we have 10% attrition. So if we sell 400 badges, 40 people don't show. If we sell 500 badges, 50 people don't show. So 50 people didn't show. I mean, I can set my watch to these numbers. I've done it for a few years now, so I can set. So we always have 10% attrition, but we always have walk-ups. Well, we almost had 100 walk-ups. So we were at 575 when it was over. Did anybody notice? No. It was not significantly more crowded. People aren't falling all over themselves. And one of the things that I don't want to do, I don't want to sacrifice the entire premise of North Texas is for North Texas to be a family reunion for kind of first and foremost, and a lot of people refer to it that way. But more importantly, the legacy that we're trying to build is gaming with your friends the way you did in seventh grade around the kitchen table, playing D&D with 8 people. Now, when you were in your kitchen, there weren't 12 other people 4 foot away trying to play a game at the same time. That's not how that worked. So we've added through the course of years as we've gotten bigger and we've gotten some more funding, we've purchased sound barriers for some of the rooms to kind of break them up a little bit better. The way the convention space works, I have a lot of 1 and 2s in a room where I could fit 4 or 5s, but I keep it 1 or 2 because it's more comfortable and it's quieter. It is that feel, and that's what I'm trying to accomplish with it. By the same token, to your point, I have to do that in such a way as I have to pay for the space. So in the discussion that we essentially have, from an expense standpoint, we have the facility. So they charge for the convention space. They give us deals on the rooms, but we still have to house special guests. I have to house my staff. And we are out room costs on top of the convention space itself. We also have costs for food trucks. All the food trucks have a required minimum, which is why I post 600 times a year. Please visit the food trucks because if they hit their minimum, I don't have to pay them. So, these are the things that people don't think about, but people don't go to the food truck for whatever reason. We're out that money. We have to cover a minimum. We have the serving girls. We have to pay them, and a lot of our special guests. We have airfare. So one of the questions that you had mentioned before was as a percentage of the budget, the facilities and the rooms are about 45% of the budget. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
let's
big
go ahead
number.
and frame this for the conversation as let's assume in a hypothetical situation, a con costs $1 to run.
Right.
So of that $1, what percentage of it's going to this expense, that expense, this expense? But on the flip side, where's the revenue coming in? Like
Mhm.
badges are this percentage, vendor tables are this percentage, and rooms are this percentage. I'm looking forward to finding out what's the weighted categories we're looking at here. So feel free to start wherever you want. Maybe we start with the expenses first, and then we see how do we make up those expenses.
It's easier to do it that way. We'll start on the expense side.
Okay.
So as far as costs go, if it costs $1 to put on, 45 cents of the dollar is going to be for all the hotel expenses. That's convention space, our room costs for staff and special guest, things along that lines. Special guest travel, food, and other things that go along with that. That's going to be another 20% because that's getting to be a bigger budget because airfare and things is getting more expensive.
Well, and you don't skimp on the special guests either. You
No,
really don't,
no, we don't.
which is
And
amazing.
We don't pay special guests to come. Our only requirement is a special guest, try to run maybe 2 events minimum. But beyond that, we have very good special guests. I mean, Alan Hammock, he'll run 5 or 6 games. Steve Winter will run 8 or 9 games. I love him. And he's also one of the easier on travel. He hates all airlines. He doesn't care. I offer them, what is your preferred airline, your preferred departure airport, and your preferred time? I don't care. They all suck. That's his answer to everything. And so,
Well, and from a player perspective, Steve is great because he always comes up with off the wall games to run too. He
yeah,
gives a variety. It's not the same game
no,
every
no,
year.
yeah,
Because like Alan, you want him to run Boot Hill. You want him to run Ghost Tower of Inverness because that's the tradition. That's who you want it from. But Steve, he's like, I'm going to give you all kinds of stuff to go with you with
exactly,
this. And it's
exactly.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. And then food trucks, the serving girls, and all the expenses that go along with that are about 15 cents.
And the
And
winches
then,
are worth it. Sorry to interrupt, but the
no, no, no,
winches
they
are
are.
wonderful.
We've got a system. I'll explain when we talk about the revenue side. I have a system that offsets that.
Oh,
So,
nice.
and that's actually something of my contriving. But anyway, and then the last 20 cents is really things like printing cost, swag bags, the module printing cost for the special modules that we usually do. Those modules, we sell them for $20. That full $20 does not go to the convention. I mean, let's just say, they cost $10 to print and we make 10 afterwards or whatever. So I'm just saying those types of cost of swag bags, that's just all out of pocket. But I mean,
Oh, okay.
it is what it is. I mean, it's part of putting on a convention here. And last year, I gave away koozies and some other, those were relatively inexpensive ads. And I'll explain how I got to some of these ads because things, for example, like the sound dividers, that was an ad for last year because we had a little bit more money. Why do we have more money? Because back to the revenue side, at about 70% of the revenue is badge sales and ticket sales. Period. End of story. So the more people we have, the more money we have to spend on dollar koozies that go in the swag bags. I mean, so I'm just saying, stuff like that. 70 cents of our income stream is basically badge sales. It just is.
Okay.
The little $5 tickets, you would be surprised. That is a significant number. It has very minor impact to the individuals, the people who are wanting to be in those games for $5. That's not a lot, okay? And I'll explain later for people who don't understand how our ticket system works. But if a game has 8 seats, we put the first 4 up for sale for $5 a piece. So you can get in a game you absolutely just have to be in. Okay. And then we make the other seats, we release them on April 15th for free. That's the mad dash for Taylor Swift tickets. That's what that is. And so, and so, but just that $5 portion, it added 5% to our budget because it
That's
makes a big difference.
That's good. And as someone who this year I bought a few of them, but last year, so 2024, I went nuts. I probably bought like 10 early bird seats at $5 a pop. And my conscience was very clear because you got across on the Facebook page that this helps the con.
Yes,
And so I guess that makes a lot of sense because I've already paid for the badge. So normally I could get the seats for free in theory if they're available,
correct.
but I'm given some extra for a little bit preferential treatment, and that's nothing but net for you
It
at
rolls
that
right
point.
back into our budget. Yes.
Okay, good. So people go for the early bird seats.
Yeah. Raffle tickets roll right back into our budget because all the stuff that comes up in the raffle, 98% of that's donations. So people give us stuff that we then sell raffle tickets to give away. So there's no cost to us, but there's revenue to us. So raffle tickets are a big deal. In general, it's less than 0.5% of our total income stream. Every little bit helps.
Yes, it does.
But back to the expense thing, you were talking about the servers. Yes, they are worth every penny. So one of the things that I have done is to offset their cost is you can buy a shirt sponsorship. You can put any family friendly logo you want on 4 shirts for a given shift. They have 3 shifts a day, morning, midday, evening. It's about 4 to 6 hours per shift. Black Blade Publishing, they'll usually put their logo on one and they'll buy 2 shifts. So the shirts are $100 a piece. So they'll spend $800 for 2 shifts. If you take all the shirts per girl across all the shifts, if it gets filled up, I can basically pay for them.
That's awesome. I think this year I saw Game with Games. I think he
Oh
also
yeah.
had
Yeah.
a session go for that. And,
Even if they just do one shift, I mean, if everybody did one, I sold all 12. I mean, I basically pay for them.
And then the girls get tips as well.
We also do things like we match their tips, and there's some other things that we do to kind of,
Do you?
help them. Oh yeah.
Oh, very nice.
We are very generous with our vendors. Like I said, the food truck vendors, they have a guarantee minimum. So the reason I preach the gospel about please go to the truck, please go to the food truck, please go to the food truck is because for every dollar spent out there, I don't have to pay.
And in 2024, I basically lived off of the cheese sandwiches with the Taylor ham in it because they were so good and so inexpensive.
Yes.
And I was helping you meet those minimums.
Yes.
They're good cold, they're good warm. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you eat it like that day or
Yeah.
very early the next day,
Yeah.
don't just camp on it for days on
Yeah,
end.
exactly. I wouldn't let's they're not good forever. So
No, I mean, I think I still got one in my swag bag, but
okay.
um,
I don't want to
so
know about that.
so the food trucks, in theory, if we give them enough business, that's not even an expense for you. Is that right?
Theoretically, it never happens that way, but because
Okay.
here's the other thing that we do, special guests eat on the food truck for free.
Ah, okay.
Their
I
badge is
got
a
you.
designator. So I have to pick that up.
That's a good perspective I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah.
So we got 70 cents of revenue coming from badges, ticket sales, and that's the early bird, that's the
Mhm.
raffle tickets. And then we got shirt sponsorships. That's a little percentage, but
Yeah.
it's
But the
somewhere in there.
shirt sponsorships, that could be a 5%. It's a sizable number. Because
Okay.
keep in mind, I pay their airfare. We pick up a lot to have them there. So you can do the math in your head, but 100 bucks times 4 times 12 shifts, and I told you it would basically pay for them. That's how much it costs.
That's cool. And so vendor tables.
Vendor tables are, 250 bucks per table. So you have people like Black Blade, they get three, Pace Sitter gets three, Etten usually gets three, on and on. So some get three, but everyone else gets one. You add up all the vendor table space, I'm basically paying for that room, maybe a little bit more. Vendor tables help offset, I would call that another 12, 15 cents. That's offsets part of my space cost.
I got you. And I do like where you have it set up this year, and I think last year as
Last year too.
well.
Last year was the test year. We got very positive feedback. With the way that was worked out before, we had the vendor room and the oak ball rooms, but there was overflow. It created this segregation, and there was a class system developing. I can't be in there with the big guys or what, it's like, okay, so I just stopped all that and said, we're going to do this. And what's funny is I took out those three Trinity rooms to make that one big room. So I lost three game tables and I lost the six game tables. So I lost nine total. But in Oak Ballroom, I have three, three, and three now. So I got them all back. And from a square footage perspective, it's 204 square feet difference. Big room now, but not much.
Yeah, no,
The reason it
I
seems so
really
big is because the ceilings are so high.
I like the setup of the vendor hall. I can get everybody at once. I just do a circuit and then take a trip down the middle. And this year we had a corgi there, which was amazing. I love petting that thing because I got three, and so I made sure to buy something from the chick while I was petting the corgi.
There you
But
go.
that's the thing about the space use at North Texas. I never feel like I'm claustrophobic or pressed in. And even though we've got hundreds and hundreds of people running around, it feels like we could have more. But I'm glad you're being sensitive about making me continue to feel like that and
I'm
not
not
feeling
going to
like I'm
name
in a cattle
names,
call.
but I've been to conventions where people are 5 or 10 feet away. It's loud and it's a lot. I don't want us to be that because here's the deal. At the heart of all of this is not a profit making enterprise. We made a little bit of money last year, which we rolled back into sound dividers. So, I mean, I'm just saying this is a zero sum. My budget, my pricing, and everything else is entirely designed to offset the cost so that I'm not out of pocket and we can continue to move forward.
Amen. And thank you for the investment in the quality of life items for the con. So we don't feel like we're just being cattle being squeezed for revenue miles
Right.
like some conventions will do. But speaking of revenue miles, some people might use their airfare miles to buy rooms. Rooms, how do
Mhm.
they figure into the revenue stream? Because we're at a hotel. It's a
Mhm.
very nice hotel too.
Mhm.
Got good customer service. How important is it in this budget for people to stay there and not at one
It's
of the
It's
hotels right
incredibly
next by.
important, and I'll explain why. We get credits for room nights. So Steve Clements stays at the Westin for 4 room nights. Those 4 room nights get added to a pool of everybody else. For X number of room nights, we get one room for the staff or the whatever discounted, almost half. So you start adding up all that. Remember that big 70 cents on the dollar number that I was talking about cost? That
Yeah.
slowly shrinks down. So that's why I encourage people. I realize there are less expensive options nearby. I get that. I also understand we have a very broad cross section at North Texas. I have doctors, I have lawyers, I have Indian chiefs. I mean, we have everybody, okay? But we also have people who coming to North Texas represents a big part of their entertainment budget for the entire year. They drive, they eat gas station sandwiches and, bring their own groceries. That's fine. I get it. We don't want to drive people off, and I want those people to get the same opportunity to game with Steve Winter that everybody else does, which is why we have a very open ticket policy. But if you stay at the hotel and you use your miles or you stay with or you pay for yourself, whatever, being at the hotel directly helps us. It just does. It's not nothing, but I mean, it's not, oh, hey, we're getting 60, oh, we're getting half the rooms free. It's nothing like that. But it's a marginal variance that makes a significant difference in overall budget.
Of the attendees, do you have a ballpark percentage of how many stay at the con hotel versus who are somewhere else?
I can ballpark it because I know how many room nights we have. If I divide that by four, actually 4.5, because we got a lot of people now coming in on Tuesdays to be there for Wednesday. Yeah, exactly. So we do have a lot of early birds. So I'm actually, if I divide by 4.5, I can get a rough estimate of the number of attendees that stay at the hotel. And I would say we're close to probably half, almost more than half, maybe.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah. We're
Wow.
we're we're getting to the point where for years, they would not guarantee us rooms because they didn't want to cut their American Airlines contract out or whatever. But here's the deal. Now they don't care. If I tell her I need to add rooms to the room block, they add them that day.
That's good.
And one thing I like about the Westons, they're all bought in. For the 50th anniversary of D&D, they decorated. That was all them. And you know what? We didn't prompt them. They actually watch our Facebook page. They figured that out on their own.
Whenever you go into the Westin, if you haven't been there before for the con, they'll do some little things tailored specifically to us, like
They
bake us
made cookies
cookies
last year. I mean, yeah,
with miniatures on them, and
yeah,
they'll make drawings of dragons on dry erase boards and stuff
yeah,
like that to make sure that they know it. There was a wheel that you could spin to get different prizes
yeah.
upon check-in.
And some of them were RPG related, like they were get somebody had gone they had gone out and bought dice.
Yeah.
Somebody on staff plays. They've got to because they had little sets of D&D, all the polyhedral dice for D&D. I mean, it was hilarious. But I mean, I'm just saying they're actively invested and because they do that for us, that's why that's another reason I push everybody there. Now, I realize that they have problems. One of the problems this year was the parking situation, which I get it. But we have a solution for that. They gave us our own QR code, and you were supposed to do that. It's too much onus on the end user because there were 3 QR codes in the hotel. What was happening is people were doing the wrong QR code. It wasn't ours. It was the one for and so on and so forth. And people were getting those. I got a notice for my son's car.
Yeah.
And so this year, what we're going to do is when you check in, there will be a form. It's going to be like a business card. It'll have a QR code on it. You're going to put your plate number on the card with the QR code, take it up to the front desk, take a picture of it with your phone, and hand it to them. And they're going to just take care of it. But it forces the onus on the direct end user handing somebody on staff a thing with the plate number on it. And then then we're done.
That's awesome. So for revenue, we're sitting at around 90%. Are there any other revenue sources that you can think of?
Our auction.
The auction. Yeah.
So the Saturday auction and the midnight auction. The midnight auction's all for fun and games and whatever, but it generates a little bit of money. our PA system, which is new this last year, was basically purchased with funds from the midnight auction last year. So
Nice.
the Saturday auction, Jeff Easley does a painting every year. If it goes for 7 grand, he gets half, we get half. People who make donations for the things, some people do consignment, like it's their stuff, they want to auction it, and we get, 30%, or we get 10. They tell us what they want the consignment to be. But then some of the stuff is donated and we get all of it. But the auction, that's the last big chunk of revenue.
Who would have thought so many middle-aged men in Speedos would draw in so much money? Oh
Oh, I know
man.
it's scary, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been twice, but I tell people that you need to go at least once. And since I've been twice, what does that say about me? I
Well,
don't know.
but the nice thing about it is we always have something special. We always have a surprise. We've got some surprises this year that are actually gonna be really funny. But last year, we gave away all the Witch Mountain games, and
Yeah,
that was the one good idea that I had. They were taking up huge amount. Oh, by the way, so you've been to the warehouse space.
yeah.
That's recurring expense. That happens year round. And
Ah,
so there are other expenses that are not directly related to, okay, and that's not cheap, by the way.
no.
But these Witch Mountain games were taking up a huge spot, and I needed to put my sound dividers in there. And I was like, look, we need to get rid of these things. Let's do an Oprah. You get a Witch Mountain. And Mike loved it. So part of my expense for printing, I had all those 666 cards printed, and Lisa sealed them all, and we handed those out to everybody. So there was a cost there. But I mean, we got rid of all the Witch Mountain games. So I got some space in my warehouse. So,
That's
but
true.
again,
Yeah,
those
the
are
warehouse.
ongoing expenses for the warehouse. I mean, there's other things, ongoing costs for things like website, email, things go on.
Yep. And so, well, how does tabletop.events figure into this? Is it more of a help than a hurt? Is it more of a hurt than a help? What's your
Push.
feedback about that?
It's a push. I don't like it, but there's not a real good alternative unless you're Alex Kamer and you can afford to pay a guy to basically build your own system, which he does. He has a guy on staff that basically does that. There's good, bad, and ugly about tabletop. I have learned to deal with it and make it work. So now, one of the things that I had known, so as being an avid watcher of your podcasts and so forth, one of the things that I noticed was you had said, in one of your, I almost wrote it down because your statement was, I don't understand why the organizers don't add people. So that's a bad on me. Okay. I got sidetracked. I got lazy and didn't do it. This year, as games come in, I'm assigning the GMs to the games. So they will be on they'll be on the calendar. I apologize last year. So that's changing for this year. But again, it's a nightmare on tabletop to do. And so that's the other thing too. It's a pain because it's a pain. I didn't do it, and I got busy and yada yada. I'll own the responsibility of not doing it, but I will also tell you they don't make it easy. So,
Okay. So the other cons that I'm familiar with doing that in the background, they've already done the extra steps and just sucked it up.
but keep in mind too, most other conventions have for game types they have 5: RPG, board game, da da da. We have 207 because we don't just have D&D. We have D&D 2, 3, 4, 5, AD&D 1, 2, 3, 4, 5e, 4e, da 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 da. I mean, they're all listed individually because by God, that's the way, that's what I inherited. But the reality is, it is nice to be able to put your Boot Hill version 2, version 3, 4, 5, Call of Cthulhu 5, 6, 7, and 8, whatever. Okay, yeehaw. But because of that granularity, it adds a layer of maintenance. And so I had to go when I released games earlier in this week, those game submissions, I had hit 207 game types, change the $5 and turn off the global override, and then make them available in all 33 rooms. For each of the 207, that's roughly 55 clicks. So you do that math in your head.
Okay. See, this is important stuff that I didn't know about, but I
Yes.
wanted to know about.
55 times 200, and I mean, we're talking thousands of clicks
Ah,
to make it look nice for people to use.
yeah, but is it
So
necessarily a value add
I
when
don't
it's
know. I
that's a
inherited it.
thing?
I'm sure, much like moving registration from the middle of the floor to that counter space over there, which Doug never wanted to do. I'm sure I could pare this down, but somewhere he would be rolling, and I don't want to do that. So,
I gotcha. Well, Gary, thanks. I appreciate it. I feel far more educated about the economics of a role-playing game convention. And maybe we'll have you back in the future and find out more about what goes on behind the scenes. So thanks for coming.
no, you're very welcome. Get your tickets now. We're almost sold out.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Told you this would be intriguing. Hopefully you found that as enlightening as I did, and perhaps it's helped you identify ways to better support conventions that you like so you can stay strong long into the future. If you have any thoughts, comments, drop those down below. I like to read them all and respond to them all. And if you want to get in touch with Gary Oliver, Facebook is the best place to get a hold of him, as well as the best place to find out the most up-to-date information about the North Texas Role-Playing Game Convention. Don't go to the tabletop.event site looking to find the details, because unless you go through the link that gets posted on Facebook, you're not going to be able to find it. Somehow it's hidden in that arcane system. So that's what I got for now, my dear friends. Until next time, I wish you nothing but the best.